China has set this year's GDP growth target at around 5%, giving priority to restoring and expanding domestic consumption, according to a report on government work at the annual two sessions in Beijing not long ago. Are you optimistic about the Chinese economy during this post-pandemic period?
Yes, I am, because it's not simply that China's GDP is growing, it's that the kind of GDP that it's producing is to raise living standards. Most American increase in GDP is money made by the financial sector, money made by the banking sector in interest charges and financial charges. But China uses money as a public utility. The government controls the money supply, and it doesn't spend the money that it creates primarily on arms and military. It spends the money on actual civilian growth. So the question is, it certainly needs to rebuild its economy from COVID. Its idea of rebuilding the economy is not to create billionaires in the financial sector, but to create prosperity for all of the people.
Prosperity, one of the Chinese goal or common prosperity, one of the features of the Chinese style modernization. Well, China is moving, marching towards modernization. The country strives to realize its second centennial goal. So what's your take on the Chinese modernization or the modernization with the Chinese characteristics?
Well, it's very different from the United States because the United States, since the 1980s, has done what England did. It's privatized public infrastructure into monopolies that extract monopoly rent. Especially, this is the case in pharmaceuticals and healthcare. 18% of America's GDP is for healthcare, much higher than any other country. Because of the monopoly prices that drug companies are allowed to charge. The United States government spends enormous amounts of money developing new drugs, but then it gives it to its campaign contributors and lets them charge monopoly prices. Same thing in transportation. The United States transportation network is pretty much fallen apart. Here in New York, every single day, they're falling apart problem. But China treats its roads, its railroads, its airlines as public utilities, and it's not trying to create monopoly prices for the owners of roads and banks of utilities. It's trying to lower the cost of living so that Chinese people don't need to have high enough wages to pay for monopolized healthcare, monopolized transportation, monopolized electricity. The price structure and the cost structure of China is much lower than the United States, and that's what makes it so much more competitive than the United States and more competitive than other countries.